I would like to call the October 22nd, 2023 Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board meeting to order. It is 9:10 a.m. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll and swear in any witnesses?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. Please note, Chair Rodriguez and Member Powers have notified us that they will not be present for today's meeting. All remaining board members are participating in person. Member Gonzalez,
Present.
Member Spencer,
Here.
Vice Chair Schlick here. For the record, again, Member Powers and Member Chair Rodriguez will not be present for today's meeting. I would ask the following individuals to please identify themselves for the record. Hearing Board Counsel.
Emily Helm, Senior Deputy County Counsel, Counsel for the Hearing Board.
Thank you. Air Pollution Control District staff.
William Jacks, Chief of Compliance for the district.
Mary Mahoney, Civil Actions Investigator for the district.
Dan Plattner, Program Coordinator.
Here Tabby, Counsel for the Air Pollution Control District.
Thank you. I will now swear in those that wish to provide testimony on any item on today's agenda. This includes petitioners, respondents, and APCD staff. Please raise your right hand for the swearing in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give before this hearing board is the truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. We will now move to non-agenda public communication. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the hearing board on subject matter within the hearing board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. Before we proceed, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from the members of the public that would wish to address the board today on any non-agenda public communication?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. We have received no requests from members of the public to address the board under non-agenda public communication. However, those members of the public that are joining us via teleconference, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions provided on the screen. You may also indicate that you wish to speak on this item by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen or by pressing *9 now. Seeing no hands raised, there are no members of the public wishing to provide non-agenda public communication today.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. We will now move to approval of the September 21st, 2023 San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board Statement of Proceedings minutes. Before we proceed, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board today on administrative item B?
Madam Vice Chair, we have received no requests to provide public comment under administrative item B. However, those members of the public that are joining us via teleconference, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions provided on the screen. You may also indicate that you wish to speak on this item by selecting the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen or by pressing *9 now. Madam Vice Chair, we have received, seeing no hands raised, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public comment on administrative item B this morning.
Okay, well, let's proceed with comments from district staff and board members on the minutes. Oh, good. Okay, so on the screen we have the draft statement of proceedings. If we approve these, they will become final. Are there any questions or comments? I haven't seen any. Okay, great. Is there a motion for approval?
I wasn't here, but
Yeah.
motion.
Would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
this.
There's a motion by member Gonzalez. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by member Spencer. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. Member Gonzalez,
Present, sorry.
Member Spencer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick.
Aye.
But Madam Vice Chair, that motion passes with all members present voting aye, with the exceptions of members Powers and Chair Rodriguez, who are not present for today's meeting.
Thank you. We will now move to approval of the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board 2024 Hearing Board Meeting Calendar. Or can we do this one later? So we can, I think you said that his request to do this. Is it better to just do that after we do this and then do this?
We haven't opened the petitions.
Okay, perfect. So, yes, we'll move now to the approval of San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board 2024 Hearing Board Meeting Calendar. Let me see this on the screen. Before we proceed, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board today on administrative item C?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. We have received no requests from members of the public to address the board under administrative item C. However, those members of the public that are joining us via teleconference, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions provided on the screen. You may also indicate that you wish to speak on this item by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen or by pressing *9 now. Madam Vice Chair, seeing no hands raised, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public comment today on administrative item C.
Thank you. We will proceed with comments from district staff and board members regarding the calendar for the next year.
No comments.
No comments. Looks good to me.
Yeah, I think it's fine. So is there a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion by member Spencer, seconded by member Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. Member Gonzalez,
Aye.
Member Spencer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick.
Aye, yes.
Madam Vice Chair, that motion passes with all members present voting aye, with the exceptions of members Powers and Chair Rodriguez, who are not present for today's meeting.
Thank you. Now we'll be moving into petitions before the board. A portion of our meeting agenda. We've had a request from the petitioner for 4536 from Paul Weir to be heard first as they plan to withdraw the petition. So I'd like to honor that so that they can get on their way. So calling, let's see. Okay, yes. So before we begin discussion of the petition, as the board and the district, regarding petition 4536 Cornerstone Aggregates, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the hearing board?
Madam Vice Chair, we have received one request from members of the public to address the hearing board on petition 4536. If you can just bear with me one moment.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and share the screen for other members of the public that would wish to provide public testimony. However, those members of the public that are joining us via teleconference, please dial into the conference line now using the instruction provided on the screen. You may also indicate that you wish to speak on this item by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen or by pressing *9 now. Madam Chair, we have one member of the public wishing to provide public testimony on this item today.
And that's online, the virtual.
That's correct.
Should, would it be helpful, maybe, I think if we have the person that's in person provide, have them speak and then have the person online, because maybe the person online would like to hear what's going to be said. And then we might have one. So I'd like to call first the party in person who had requested to speak, Paul Weir, regarding your request today.
Good morning, Paul Weir, appearing on behalf of the petitioner and the designated agent. And at this time, we would like to withdraw the petition for regular variance. And I would have just one comment. that working with the engineering staff of the APCD has been very effective and efficient. They are through the evaluation and it's now in air toxics. That represents very fast processing, but district and the client is very pleased with that progress. Therefore, we can withdraw the petition for the regular variance.
Okay. Thank you for that comment, and now the response.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I will go ahead and, as a reminder to members of the public wishing to address the board today, I will be calling your speakers by the last 4 digits of your phone number or your name. You will hear a notification that your call has been unmuted. At that time, you will need to press *9 to unmute your phone. Each caller will be asked to state their name for the audio record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time. I will ask that you conclude your comments when the time has ended. I would remind the speakers to mute their live stream before they begin speaking. Our first caller is Maggie Winterton. Ms. Winterton, please go ahead and unmute your phone and you will have 3 minutes to address the board.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. My name is Maggie Winterton, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I live at 8535 Paradise Valley Road, which is directly next to Cornerstone Aggregates. I don't know what their petition all includes, but our community here at Sweetwater Hills Townhomes has asked me to come and just, I guess, kind of complain, just voice our concern about the air lately from the construction. We get dust and very fine ash that floats over, and we are concerned. I'm concerned about what materials are being crushed. I know I don't know exactly what all of the process is. I know there's portable rock crushers, and it's just been wreaking havoc on our neighborhood. We do have a noise complaint in with the county. So there's just a lot of concern about there. So that's it.
Thank you very much for taking the time to attend today and provide your public comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that we've heard public comment, the board will usually take a presentation from the APCD staff or your input on the petitioner's request to withdraw in this matter.
I can comment on that.
Okay, perfect.
We have no objections to the withdrawal.
Okay, perfect. So, so great. So let's proceed with discussion on this item. Is there a motion to approve petitioner's withdrawal request? Are there any questions?
Is that something we actually vote on, or is that kind of
I
there?
believe we do need to kind of like just accept it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, okay,
I certainly don't have any objections to the withdrawal.
okay,
Yes, neither do I, so I'll move to approve the
okay.
withdrawal.
And I'll second it. Okay, so there's a motion by member Gonzalez, seconded by myself. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? And this motion is to accept the withdrawal of petitioner, petition 4536.
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. Member Gonzalez,
Aye.
Member Spencer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick.
Aye.
Madam Vice Chair, that motion passes with all members present voting aye, with the exceptions of members Spencer and Chair, I apologize, members Powers and Chair Rodriguez were not present for today's meeting.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Weir, you can be excused. today,
Uh,
unless there's
Thank
anything
you,
else.
and because of. There's considerable interest in the upcoming petition. I'll be sitting here for a while.
Oh, you will, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, yeah, you're welcome to stay. All right, so let's go back then to the regularly scheduled petition 4527, that's on today's agenda. And this one is the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District, San Diego County abatement order against respondent New Leaf Biofuel. We were planning today to receive like an update on everything. Because this is a prior order that was already put in. And we've been keeping up on it over this past year. But before we begin discussion of this petition, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board on petition 4536 today, New Leaf Biofuel?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. We have received no requests from members of the public to address the board on petition 4527. However, those members of the public that are joining us via teleconference, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions provided on the screen. You may also indicate that you wish to speak on this item by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen or by pressing *9 now. Madam Vice Chair, it appears that there are 2 members of the public wishing to provide public comment today.
Fantastic. Let's see. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you please go ahead and call those members of the public and allow them to speak?
Point of procedure. Is there going to be a ruling on whether to continue the hearing before opening the hearing for testimony?
Madam Vice Chair, just for history of the petition. Now, we did receive on October 20th, we received a request from New Leaf, and I believe that
Yes.
it was distributed electronically and have a copy in front of you, as well as a copy in the chambers. And that would be the first item for consideration at
Okay.
this time. It would
Okay.
be for
But
petitioner's request.
before public comment. Well, maybe just like the previous one was withdrawing, let's,
I think the public may want to know what this letter has to say for content.
yes, that's true. Okay, so, and this letter is part of today's, agenda, which, attachments. Correct.
Unfortunately, Madam Chair, we received the request of, and Madam Vice Chair, we received the request for continuance after the distribution
Okay,
of the agenda, so
but it's available online.
it will be available in the public record once the conclusion of the hearing, and it is also available in the board chambers, and it was distributed electronically to all members of the board.
Yes, I definitely received it. Did all members of the board receive it and have a chance to review? Okay, so just so for those members of the public online, there's been a development that you should be aware of before we open public comment. Under the rules of the hearing board, we have a hearing board rule 28. And New Leaf Biofuel put in a timely request for a continuance of the October 26, 2023 meeting regarding this petition 4527. And this timely request for a continuance was that they were asking to continue this status hearing until the earliest January hearing date for the following reasons. New Leaf Biofuel has recently made the sobering decision to shutter its biodiesel manufacturing operations at 20, and it's on the screen. So if you're joining us via Zoom or YouTube, it's available now on the screen. They are shuttering their biodiesel manufacturing operations at 2285 Newton Avenue. The biodiesel plant will cease operations in mid-December after all contractual obligations are fulfilled. While other limited processing operations will continue, and I'm just reading this, so for the members of the public that have called in and cannot read this. The biodiesel plant closure is a substantial change in operations at both the 2285 North and 2317 South Newton Avenue locations. The scale of these changes is a 75 to 80% reduction in the oil processing at the south plant, at least a 50% reduction in processing volume at the water treatment plant, and 75 to 80% reduction in truck loading, unloading, and transfer events. We believe it is reasonable and necessary to defer consideration of any further conditions until the new operational pattern is established and any remaining odor issues are identified. On October 18th, New Leaf informed APCD of its intent to request the continuance and sought APCD's concurrence. Although New Leaf and APCD had been discussing additional conditions, New Leaf could not adequately consider or agree to conditions given the impending significant change in operations. Nonetheless, on the morning of October 19th, New Leaf was served with a proposed amended stipulated abatement order seeking to impose additional conditions on the company. New Leaf has not had sufficient time to review and evaluate the conditions in light of the plant's impending closure. Accordingly, we are requesting that the hearing board grant a continuance of this hearing to allow further dialogue between New Leaf and APCD regarding the plant's operations and the appropriateness of any new conditions in light of the substantial reductions in operations to come, and the recently completed and ongoing efforts described below. Item 3, since the last hearing, New Leaf has continued to fully cooperate with APCD, has strictly followed all conditions of the SAO. The incidence of the alleged strong odors have significantly declined with each additional odor control measure, and the company is still evaluating odor survey data and completing odor control projects. For example, New Leaf only recently completed sealing the water treatment building, leak testing, and additional sealing of the south plant, replacement of the south plant internal door, and installing the high efficiency permanent fan on the portable carbon canister, which was delayed due to manufacturer and electrical part supply delays. A longer intake arm will arrive this week to further improve the operation of this unit. Given all these dramatic changes, we strongly believe it would be useful to evaluate their impacts and report these to the hearing board before imposing new conditions. Additionally, New Leaf is in the process, number 4, of obtaining an air permit for the water treatment facility, a previously exempt process that recently became subject to APCD oversight. In this application, we propose many conditions that overlap and conflict with the proposed SAO amendment conditions proposed by APCD staff. It would be more productive to work on effective permanent control measures in the permit rather than implement hasty and potentially conflicting stopgaps. We expect this permit to be at the final stages by early December. Number 5, New Leaf disputes allegations in section 10 of the SAO amendment petition submitted to the board and has records and evidence that provide alternative conclusions to those of the APCD. We have not had sufficient time to prepare a suitable response for consideration by the board, as the petition was only received by New Leaf on 10/19/2023. We respectfully request the board continue this hearing until after the plant closure is complete and the company and the district can cooperatively analyze any remaining odor issues at the facility. And it's signed Jennifer Case, Chief Executive Officer of New Leaf Valley. So now that the public, the district, the petitioners who are here, everyone's on the same page as far as the status. Now typically Rule 28. Do you have the name of this? Typically Rule 28, as I understand it, is that if a request is timely made, it's typically granted. But let's do our due diligence and pull that up.
Can I be,
Yes.
the continuance maybe it was timely granted, so it may be granted for any reason whatsoever, good cause or not.
Okay, timely made, so it may be granted for a good cause, or even if there is no good cause.
Yes, a good cause finding is required for a
Untimely.
untimely.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, that's right, because I think sometimes people come the day before.
Yes.
Okay, so great. I mean, I read and considered this request for continuance. And the fact that it's timely, our hearing board rules, if it's timely made, we may grant it, even if there is no good cause. It seems like there's a variety of reasons that I would see good cause, like if this was a court hearing and I came into court and had these sort of things, these types of things to present to a judge, I would likely be able to get a continuance of a status hearing. So that's my thoughts. Does the APCD have anything to share, or should we hear from public comment? I'm a little bit all over the place today.
Completely fine. I believe that at the board's discretion, you may hear public, you may hear from the
Okay,
parties, whatever. you
well,
want.
I'd be interested to hear if the APCD is concurring in the continuance request.
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts on that. We don't, or I should say, we oppose the continuance today. And the reason is because today's update was noticed as sort of a two-part update. One is for a status update,
Mhm.
and then the other part was potentially for new conditions to be introduced. Now, a week ago, that was our plan, and we were at that time going to ask for new conditions to be granted. But since the significant change has occurred, we're no longer asking for new conditions today. We are just simply wanting to provide the status update.
Oh, okay, okay.
And we don't see any relevant reason why that couldn't continue. We feel it's important information for the board and for the community.
I certainly would like a status update. So as far as additional conditions on petitioner, I would understand and want to grant that continuance, but I still have questions and would like to have a status update on everything.
Please, if I may jump.
Yes.
As the continuance is opposed, I believe that would likely require a finding of good cause.
Okay.
But
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so the APCD district staff have opposed the request for continuance. So I think now let's do our typical hearing from members of the public. And then we'll allow both the APCD and then, as is customary, after that, the petitioner to speak on the status.
Thank you, Vice Chair. If you could just bear with me one moment.
Can I ask one point of order? Are you asking for a discussion on whether good cause exists, or have you already decided that good cause?
Okay, so because the APCD opposes the continuance request, Ms. Helms has advised that we can't simply grant it because it's timely, that now we need to find good cause, so yes.
So the first element for discussion will be whether there's good cause or not for the request for continuance.
I'll take a look at the rule right now.
Yeah, okay, but I think either way, we would love to hear from the public, since we're going to not simply continue the matter and be done with it, we're going to actually be discussing a little bit of what's been going on, so let's go ahead and have the public have a chance to speak on this. Which we would allow them anyway, even if we were continuing it, so we're not going to deny the public for their chance to speak.
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. We have two requests to speak under public comment for petition 4527. I will call members of the public joining us virtually by the last four digits of their phone number or their name as it appears on the teleconference line. We will hear notification that your call has been unmuted at this time. At that time, please press *6 to unmute your phone and state your name for the audio record. All speakers in person and via teleconference will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time. I will ask you to conclude your comments when your time has ended. I would remind teleconference speakers to mute their live stream before they begin speaking. I will now call public comment speaker. I believe it would be Nicholas Paul.
Hello, good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, hearing board members and staff. My name is Nicolas Paul. I am an air quality advocate at the Environmental Health Coalition. I'm calling today to express our opposition to the request for a continuance. In effect, what this would do would be a continuing of this pattern that we've been on for the past year. Again, as far as the timeline, you know, there's been this kind of wait and see approach that we've been seeing. We've been working collaboratively with New Leaf to address the odor situation here in the neighborhood of Barrio Logan. And while we understand that there is some changes that are being proposed as far as shutting down the biofuel processing operation here, we also understand that the source of odors has and will continue to be the oil processing. And that's going to be continuing. And so to expect for there to be this miraculous change in the odor situation here in the neighborhood, I think is misplaced. I think it's wrong. And what, in effect, by allowing this continuance to continue, we're telling residents here in Barrio Logan to wait till, I believe, January for any escalation in enforcement in regards to the odor. So again, we request that you all reject this continuance and move forward with an increase in escalation to address the odor situation that's been impacting folks' quality of life here in Barrio Logan for years now. APCD enforcement started, I believe, this month last year in October. And by continuing this on for another 3 months, that just means an additional 3 months for residents to experience these odors that have been impacting them for so long now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Payul, for your comment. And on behalf of both the community and the Environmental Health Coalition, we appreciate your time that you've taken to attend the hearing board meeting. Is there another request for public comment?
There is, Madam Chair. I
Thank
will
you.
now call Peter Colon. Peter Colon, please unmute your phone at this time, and I will ask, you will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time, and I will ask that you conclude your comments at the end of your 3 minutes.
And make sure to mute your live stream so we don't get.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Peter Colon, and I'm also a part of the coalition. I live directly across the street from this operation that's going to be continuing. I'm still experiencing odors. I oppose the continuance because it just means I have to continue to experience what I've been experiencing for this last, year or two. I think that you should be more concerned about the community in that respect. You know, we need to continue with the enforcement, increase the enforcement. And I just want to give a second to what Nick was saying. I think he's right on point, you know. And so I'm not going to take up all your time. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Colon, for taking time to attend and speak and share your thoughts today. Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair, that concludes public comment for petition 4527 at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd like to hear next the reasons for opposition, any more reasons for opposition by the APCD staff.
For the continuance?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we also did spend some time notifying nearby residents of today's meeting. And we feel that it's, you know, important to keep that promise and go through with at least the status update today, as we're prepared to do. And we don't see any reason to not at least provide that important information today.
Okay, so from what I understand though, you are okay with continuing the imposition of additional abatement measures, but you'd like to have the status update portion of the meeting go forward.
I think so. To just rephrase that, we are not going to ask the board to take any action to, grant any additional conditions for the order today. But we would like to proceed with giving just a status update, just to inform the board and the community.
And regarding any future conditions, we would like to continue to work with New Leaf. As this change does appear to be significant, there are unknowns because until it occurs, we need to build one way. So that's why the decision is made to not add any additional conditions at this time or propose any additional conditions.
Okay.
But again, the status update is a lot of work from July till now, and so there's a lot of information that we think that's relevant for the board as well as the public to hear.
Yes, great, and even if we were to, even if we continue the, any additional conditions till January, you still have the ability to come in on a notice motion for any more urgent items that come up between now and then, with that.
We could file a petition.
Yeah, we filed.
On schedule, yeah.
Okay, so, just so the public knows that it's not as if there's not gonna be any options for them until January. Okay, well, yeah, oh, hi, yes.
I apologize, I must correct my statement. So Rule 28 provides, except for good cause, all requests for continuance shall be in writing and received 3 days prior. The other party needs to be notified, and we each petition needs to state whether the request is opposed or not. But I believe if it's timely, if the request is timely, good cause, it doesn't necessarily need to be there. But
Okay, and what about this idea that we're kind of bifurcating matters today and continuing any additional imposition of conditions till January? But hearing a status update still?
I think that, so the status update is definitely the notice, so that is appropriate. I think we would want the board to just very clearly outline its expectations for bringing new conditions. See what they would like to see on behalf of the parties should new conditions be imposed.
Okay, after we hear the status update. Okay, so I would like to make a motion to grant the request for continuance, but then after we consider that motion, I do plan to still hear a status update from the district, and of course the parties are here and may also provide a status update.
So if the motion is granted, I'm just trying to make sure I understand this before I vote, then that means that we would still hear the status updates, but only that other portion will be continued. Is that okay?
Can I point of procedure again? I mean, the request for continuance, just to be clear, was a request to continue the status hearing, which was noticed as the status hearing. So I guess I want to understand, my understanding is if you grant the continuance, we would grant the continuance on the status hearing.
Yes, my understanding is that these two, there was no noticing of additional conditions. There was just a broad noticing of the petition.
Okay,
So granting the continuance as requested would be a continuance of the status update.
okay, when's the next time that we could notice the next status hearing? Maybe we want to have maybe we want to grant the continuance, but not till early January, but maybe sooner than that to get a status update.
Just for the record, council for APCD, I would agree with council for New Leaf that if the continuance is granted, then that means the status update is also
Okay,
off table, but I would say that from the perspective of APCD, that the matter was noticed as an order for abatement generally, so that if the board had wanted to add additional conditions today, that would have been appropriate. So I just want that on the record.
okay, I think I understand. Sorry, this is one of the a little more complicated ones that I've acted as chair, so I appreciate everyone's patience today. I am vice chair, but Madam Chair Rodriguez has a lot more experience running the board meetings than I do, so appreciate everyone's patience as this is a little bit unusual. So there's okay, so
Vice Chair Schlick, if the board should decide to notice for future noticing of a status update for petition 4527, The next available, regularly scheduled hearing board date would be December 7th.
And I'm sorry, I just want to put another point of consideration is that the request was to continue it to January in part for the reasons in there that operations will cease mid-December and ramp down. So there'll be, again, more information to present. That's why the January
Yes,
date was requested.
and what would be the earliest January date?
The earliest January date would be January 11th. Madam Vice Chair.
Does the APCD hearing board have any thoughts on the choice of dates? Or do you also concur in the fact that it may take some time to understand the downgrade in operations? Is that
I think our position remains the same.
Okay.
We have prepared a status update. We're all here, it's been properly noticed, and it's just the providing of important information in a timely manner, and we could still meet in January if we follow through with today's update, so that isn't off the table.
and what about December? What about December? What was it? December
Or
7th?
Or December, if the board feels that that date is more appropriate, we could
Mhm.
essentially do both.
And basically, remember that with this stipulated abatement order, the district is the petitioner. And so really, it's up to the district when they're going to notice the next meeting, I believe, and bring the next. So, I mean, we can grant today's continuance on behalf of the respondent, but really, it's up to you. It's up to you if you're going to want to come back in December as opposed to January, or if you're agreeing on behalf of respondent's request to wait until January.
Yeah, again, our position remains the same, that we're not proposing any new conditions. We'd like to provide a status update as mentioned. And regarding any date for this to be continued to, there is a relevant piece to that argument that there will not be any new information on the changes that are proposed by New Leaf until after mid-December, as stated by New Leaf Council. But that does not change our position. We'd still like to provide an update. So I think there's opportunity to have future meetings beyond the next one. So it's at the board's discretion at this time, I believe, to decide.
Okay, what I'd like to do, Madam Clerk, is take a brief 5-minute break. I have some questions for Ms. Holmes. Okay, yeah, so if we could take a brief 5-minute break.
We actually have
Hearing board will take a.
smaller meeting room, if you guys would like to, yeah, there's a smaller meeting room, if you guys would like to discuss.
I apologize. In case it wasn't heard, the hearing board will take a brief 5-minute recess and will return at 9:56.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you for the brief recess. I needed to get some clarity from the hearing board counsel, Ms. Helms. So this is not like a brand new petition. This stipulated abatement order, as the members of the public and as all of us who've been here at these meetings with a new leaf understand. This has been going on since last fall. The stipulated abatement order, for everyone to remember, was one in which the parties, which is the petitioner in the district and the respondent, New Leaf, had recognized the problem, had come together to agree to solutions and to agree to conditions that they would be working under. It's kind of like a settlement agreement. You know, they had agreed to work together. What I'm hearing from both the request for continuance on today's status update from the respondent and the statements made by the district is that there's good cause for not imposing new conditions over respondent's objection or dispute today. And essentially, what I would like to see by granting this continuance today is that if the parties are no longer in agreement on additional conditions, that the next hearing regarding this matter, that the district notices it as request for an abatement order. If we're at the point where we have gone past the ability to work on the conditions and agree to them. I think given today was just noticed as a status update, and there's good cause, as well as it was made timely, which does not require good cause, but I would like to motion to grant the continuance request. And we would come back at the January meeting. Is there a second for my motion?
As much as I would like to get the additional information today, and I'm sure the public would like to get the additional information today, I think it's important to recognize that New Leaf has done everything properly, has been working with the district and everything that their rights should be protected too. So I can say.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And I would add in discussion for members of the public, all of the conditions that they've had to operate under are not going away. They're still having the respondent, New Leaf, is still having to comply with that. I believe the district staff are still going out regularly, making inspections and are available for that. So we have a motion and we have a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Thank you, Vice Chair Schlick. Member Gonzalez,
I,
Member Spencer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick.
Aye.
That motion to accept petitioner, respondents, New Leaf request for the January 11th hearing of members' powers, and Chair Rodriguez were not present for today's meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would like to highly encourage the parties to, try to work together during this time of change and draw down of some of their operations. And I would like the district to clarify when they, when we notice the next one, if they're wanting to impose conditions that the respondent is not in agreement to notice the meeting as an abatement order request. All right, so with that, that concludes the hearing board business for the regular meeting of October 26, 2023. The next regular meeting of the APCD hearing board will take place on November 9th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.